Alrighty folks, want to welcome you back to another video from Yates Computers Tips and Reviews. So I kind of mentioned a lot about memory, gone through a lot, and for this year, for the beginning of the year, I wanted to do a whole transition of technology. First one I did was on the motherboard, showing where things were, how things have upgraded, where they are today. Today, I have a lot of memory from all the years of me scrapping computers and doing stuff, and I kept little bits and pieces, and over the years I've gotten rid of some things that would have been helpful, but today I wanted to go over the memory. I know today a lot of this will not apply. All this is really old technology. With Windows 11, there's a new minimum standard of technology that all of this will not be in play anymore. All of this is pretty much gone. But where it comes down to motherboard design and motherboard issues, and my IT quiz of 2022, where it looks like it's a motherboard manufacturing design architecture type of an error that may be causing this. I have not quite pinpointed what has caused that, or if this issue's always been there, just not noticed and not causing the menace or problems that we are having today. So, in a lot of that, I mentioned different kinds of memory. We are now on, as of 2023, DDR4 and DDR5. And DDR6 is pretty much coming pretty soon. From all what I've heard, that's right around the corner. Maybe end of the year or next year, that's probably coming out. Sometime soon, within probably the next few years. Because that's the technology, it's moving so fast. So, I've mentioned in the old days, if you wanted to run a certain CPU and a certain kind of memory, or a speed of memory, you had to buy a certain kind of motherboard that supported that. It wasn't you can go pretty much buy any motherboard and then decide, oh, I want to put an i3 or an i5 or an i9 in later. You had to know that ahead of time and get the motherboard that supported that. The chipset, the BIOS, all that had to support that. And it was not a very flexible thing a lot of times. And from when I used to build my own computers and do all that type of stuff, custom built, I would buy memory. And this is the package of the memory. You can see the brand. I don't care about marketing the brand or anything like that. It's not a paid sponsorship. But this is what I used to buy. You can see the speed. You can see the ratings. You can see how large it is. There's another one. Speed, rating, all of that type of stuff. This is really, really slow compared to memory nowadays. But I actually still have the boxes that were stashed away in my drawers. I still have some of the memory probably floating around that's mixed in with all the other memory that I got now. But I wanted to go through and show this, because that's not really a factor a lot of people are looking at anymore. Yeah, if you really want to run the high-speed, overclocked memory, yeah, you want to make sure your board supports that. Pretty much, the old standard was, best practice is if you're looking at a motherboard, you look to see what was supported on that motherboard. You look to see what was tested and what was rated to run on that motherboard, and that's what you were able to use on that motherboard. You could buy other kinds of memory. You can buy other kinds of things. It would work, wouldn't work. That was up to you to make that choice and to go down that road. If you bought something that was too high of speed rating, it either wouldn't work or it would default down to a lower speed and you spent money on something you can't actually use. So there's a lot of variables out there when it comes to memory. There's a lot of issues that I used to have due to memory. all the ghost in the machines, all the weirdness that would go on, most of it was due to memory. Mixed match memory, clock speeds of memory being different. Have a video on how to actually read what is on this label. This tells you a lot of information about that memory stick. What the speeds is, what type of memory, is it DDR 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, is it DIMMs, SIMMs, what it actually is, this label tells you. This is very important to know. This is what you have to match. This is also what you have to match. This used to be a big, big deal in the old days. It's not anymore. It doesn't matter if it's single-sided, double-sided. Want to show that too? Double-sided. Single-sided memory. I remember when this stuff used to have some weird issues with which side the chips were on. Bottom side or top side of the memory stick. Some boards supported one or the other, not both. Used to run into some weird issues way back in the old days. None of that really applies anymore. Except for, don't do this. You don't want single-sided with a double-sided stick. Why? You get weirdness. They'll tell you it's okay. Most people will tell you, oh yeah, you can do that. You can do that. Don't do it. You want to match what you have. That's very, very important to match what you have. And if you're really going to upgrade memory, unless you bought some huge jumbo stick to start with to put in there, just buy 2 new ones and take out the old one. Put in the 2 new ones that you know match, and you will have no issues. Sometimes you can get lucky, find the same memory. That's why I always liked the brand that I bought, because they were very good at keeping their memory very separate. Usually if you went out and bought a stick of memory and you went back out a year later, you could find the same kind. You go in with this and go, I'm looking for this, and you could actually find this. You wouldn't find this to put with that. You would find the exact same thing. So that's why I usually bought this brand. I'm sure a lot of brands out there still do, but nowadays with the tech, they make their runs and they're done. They don't continue to make it. They don't have it. When they come out with the next set of memory, it's different than the original. There's different chips, there's different other things that are on these memory. So those little things can cause sometimes issues that can affect you or not affect you. It can affect one computer but not another. So it's kind of a weird thing that when you troubleshoot, most of the time it comes down to this. So with the new issue that I found, it's causing a lot of the same issues that this issue comes up. So that is really where I did that video, and I wanted to link this to that, because if you're having issues that you think are ghost in the machine that are memory issues, it might actually be the frequency, the CPU frequency is being overclocked over 100%, and that's giving you your weirdness. So, mentioned that in the other video, that it seems to be the same kind of weird issues that come up with the memory mismatch. So, I wanted to do a little video and show some of this stuff. Here's an old one. I think this was like out of a 386 or 486. This is a memory card with all the little chips on there. I don't even remember the size of it. I know it's really tiny. But it takes all of that I thought it was like a 1 meg, might be less. I don't remember the exact size, but people out there can look it up, research it, Google it. Memory has turned into a whole giant thing. I don't have any of the new RGB lighted memory. I don't have any of that because I don't do any of that with my cases. I usually buy pre-builts now because I did all the years of building them, getting what I wanted, doing everything I wanted, getting the CPU I wanted, getting the memory I wanted. Nowadays, with the ratings for Windows 11, it's above what I'm going to need. So there's no need for me to go out and do all of that. So I bought one pre-done. Have the video on that I do for my video captures, for the videos, for the YouTube. All of that stuff gets done through that. I have the video. Go back and look at that one up. But as for memory, now you have things also like heat sinks or heat spreaders that go on memory. Now, where this gets a little bit more complicated is if you want to know if this is a single-sided or double-sided, some of them you can't really see in there. This one you can kind of see it's a dual-sided memory stick. But I got a couple different other brands up here. I can't tell on that one. It looks dual-sided and dual-sided. So these are all dual-sided. It's probably why they do the heat sink on both sides to transfer the heat. Again, none of this is sponsored stuff. This is just stuff I have that I bought. Miscellaneous stuff to do videos and do stuff like that. To show you the difference between what's there, what's not. Because maybe you want a heatsink on your memory. Keep it cooler. Of course, now you have all the LED lighting and all that kind of stuff you can get in it and on it too. But these are some of the variables of where the memory has gone. You can see from the old memory, there was no kind of heat sink. There was no nothing. Funny thing is the pins, they've gotten a lot more smaller over the years. Of course, that's like all technology. So it's kind of interesting to see the difference in the memory, where it's gone, where it's come from, where it's been, single-sided, dual-sided, all of this little type of things. There's little like machine memory, with what's funny is those aren't gold connectors. I always thought that was kind of an interesting little thing. There's all kinds of different memory out there. Of course, the laptop memory, the smaller sticks. Basically, the same thing. Different technology, different phases, different things. Different generations of the technology. So I wanted to go through and show all the old stuff. So you know where it came from. You understand what you have. Most pre-built computers don't have heat-sinked memory. So these are some of those little technology things that if you're interested or you really think you need it for some reason, due to maybe you're in a colder environment, warmer environment, that you might need this, then those are options you can look at. Knowing this helps you out in the future. Well, does it really matter if it's got a heat sink or not? Probably not. But if you decided that's what you need, even for a business or anything like that, you have the options. If you see the new LED type of lighting on memory, do you need it? What is the advantages? What are the disadvantages? Well, part of the disadvantages is you got a heatsink on there and you're using certain memory and it gets warm, really warm over here. You're going to transfer that heat all the way across. So you're going to actually heat up your whole memory stick. It'll help cool that down, but it's going to heat these up. So there's some advantages, some disadvantages in what it does. And of course, everybody will debate, should the memory be warm? Should it be cool? Should it have a fan blowing on it? Should it have this? Should it have that? Everything's different. They're still debating a lot of that. So, but most pre-built computers will not have a heatsink on them. So I wanted to go through and just do a quick little show of what this is, what memory, where it's come from, what is out there, because when you get into memory, it can kind of get a really confusing time to figure out. Oh, do I need 4200 speed? Do I need 5200? Do I need 58? Do I need the new 8000 speed memory? That all boils down to your motherboard, your CPU, and all those components put together. And again, that goes back to that motherboard design. Knowing what that motherboard can support. Knowing the BIOS and CPU and all of those things. Chipsets. What those can support. I'm sure if you go in and you watch some of the other gaming people and how they overclock memory, they will go into some more of those details of how to overclock and boost that memory speed. And you'll see if you don't do it right, you'll corrupt, you'll crash, you'll do a lot of things to your memory. Is that really an option that you have to have? Probably not. Especially with as fast as the things are nowadays, especially if you're a home user, a small business, or anything like that, you're probably not going to need any of that. But when you go to shop for a computer, they're going to bring all that up because that's what the gamers are doing. That's what other people are doing to try to get that extra boost out of that system. Really, you don't need that extra boost. These systems are pretty dang fast right now. If you buy the proper kind of drive, the proper kind of memory, the proper kind of CPU, it's going to perform very well. But everybody wants more, more, and more, and more. And this is where a lot of these issues are coming up with incompatibilities and what, you can spend too much money on something that really you're not going to have the benefit of it. These new video cards that are out. Why do you need a 3000 frames per second? Not to mention, depending on what kind of video connection and what kind of monitor you have, are you running HDMI? Are you running DisplayPort? Are you running DVI? What are you running? That's going to affect what you really want in your system. If you're running DVI, yeah, it's a digital, but it's pretty much a lower quality digital. And your monitor is not going to be supporting, 30,000 frames per second. So these are some of those issues that come up. That's the best way I can relate, because that's what a lot of people understand is the video to memory. So there's a huge variable there. You could go check out benchmarks. You could check out a lot of other things on motherboards and memory and all these type of things. But then there's a gaming benchmark, and then there's the standard user platform. If you're at that standard platform of standard user, business, home environment, whatever, you don't need that gaming benchmark level. Of course, you can go out and buy that and have it because it's great to have, but you're going to be paying for it. So this is really one of those things that are tied in with motherboards. It can be very important to know these type of things, to know what you got, to know in the future if I want to upgrade or if I want to upgrade it, what do I want to do? Maybe I want to get a pre-built system that has lower memory on it because they want to charge me $800 to put memory in it when I know I could go buy memory and put it in there for $200. So knowing what memory you need to buy and how you get it and what it is and where is a major thing. Because you might buy that memory, or you buy that computer, you buy that memory, you open it up and you go, what is in here? Why is this in here? This is like no good. This is really slow memory. And then you start worrying. The memory you bought, will that work on that system? So you got to do your research and know. Because not necessarily are you going to get the best in that system. You're going to get what you paid for. And unfortunately, on a pre-manufacturer, you're probably going to pay a lot for what you got. But it's all done. You shop around, you can find a good deal sometimes. So let me wrap this one up, because this covers the basics of memory. Different types, different styles within the type of memory. That is one thing I did not go through a lot of and show a lot of. Single-sided, double-sided, and all that type of stuff. Don't have any benchmarks or testing on single-sided versus double-sided anymore. A lot of that stuff, I believe the motherboard can handle it all now, can support it all now, that it's not really a major factor as it used to be. Because it came down to buses and channels and all kinds of other things on the motherboard. Nowadays, with DDR4 and DDR5, it's a standard that is really supported and is done well. It's not like the old Sims and DIMMs and all of that other stuff that was out there. So a lot of this stuff won't be really anything you have to worry about and be compliant with, except for LED, heat sinked, not heat sinked. Those are going to be pretty much the ideal things that people are looking at nowadays. If you have a solid case without any panels or anything of that sort, that's a whole other factor, is your case choices. I'll have to probably go into all of that due to this factor. So these are these kind of things that can kind of stack on top of each other and make things a little bit more complicated when you build a system. So let me wrap this video up. Thank everybody for watching. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell, follow. Make sure you share my links. Make sure you post things out. Let people know. These videos are out there to help you out, to let you know what variables are out there. Alrighty, thank you.